Hi everybody and welcome back and thanks for being here on the program. It's Tuesday the 18th and much of our focus tonight will be coverage of two meetings, a portion and the majority of both of which will discuss the proposed demolition of the old Sagersville First Baptist Church building. I'll get to that in just a few moments. I got a couple of birthday wishes to announce. No, I have a birthday and an anniversary wish to put out there this evening, as we got a great deal of coverage from those meetings coming up in just a few moments. But we want to make sure we wish Patty Marshall a very happy birthday today with a whole lot of love from a whole lot of your friends and family. Patty, and I am told to say a very happy, blessed 38th anniversary to Herman and Kathy Patrick. Happy anniversary, guys. A lot of love from Larry, Misty, Haley, and Joe. They wish you many, many more blessed years together. Happy anniversary. With that said, little else will be discussed tonight, with the exception of the Sagersville City Council meeting, at least the portion of it in which the council and mayor was addressed about possible solutions and information pertaining to the proposed demolition of the old Sagersville First Baptist Church building. Then we'll fast forward over to this morning's regular session meeting of the Montgomery County Library Board, where they would address and then hold a vote on that same subject. So for now, a few words from a few of our sponsors. We'll pick up that headline right after this. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. Our top and pretty much only story this evening, proposed demolition, which is not so proposed any further, of the old Sagersville First Baptist Church building. After a public hearing in which nearly all who voiced their opinion did so in opposition of, after a petition which has gathered more than 400 signatures in just a couple of days, after input from city and county leaders and those from several state agencies, all saying that the correct thing to do would be to preserve the old Sagersville First Baptist Church building and find an alternate site for a new Montgomery County Public Library. The Montgomery County Public Library Board did just the opposite this morning and moved ahead to tear the building down. While the sign out front, standing today as it has for years, seems to display the intentions of the Montgomery County Public Library Board of adding on to the old Sagersville First Baptist Church House, we've learned from Kitty Duguid, who is with the Heritage Commission of Kentucky and the Renaissance Main Street program as well, that she instructed at least some members of the Library Board back in the month of May that the sign should be taken down, as it could be interpreted as being false or misleading or dishonest to the public as to what the Library Board was actually working toward. We also learned back in that month of May that the board had determined that the building wasn't structurally suitable enough for the plans they had to add on to the structure, and that the Library Board was also ready in their monthly May meeting to move forward and approve plans to tear it down. Soon after, just days later, the county judge of Montgomery County, Charles Hardin, requested a 90-day stay on their plans to allow for any consideration of other options. That 90 days was up today. In that time since, several individuals have presented several different options, and they have been voiced in support of saving the building. One most notable, perhaps, is being the purchase or trade even of a city lot across from City Hall. Many argue the lot stands to be some 3 times the size of the current structure's lot, and that it would be a cheaper and more suitable location for a new library. The building was purchased by the Library Board for $450,000 several years ago in coal severance funds, and it's estimated that it will take tens of thousands of dollars to tear it down. I'm also told by local officials possibly up to another $200,000 to reroute existing sewer lines that lie beneath this structure and would thusly lie beneath any new construction, adding up to what could be $700,000 or possibly even more invested in a vacant lot to build upon. The board, with $1 million, they say, saved in the bank, says it plans on borrowing $3 million or more to build a new 14,000 square foot library. For comparison, the Montgomery County Health Department is about 10,000 square feet in size. And while the mayor, the judge executive, and a list of over 400 people signing a petition in support of keeping the church building have expressed their interest in helping the board to keep the church house but still build the exact same library that they envision on another lot, just yesterday Doug and Sue Mortimer traveled to Frankfort to meet with the representatives of the Department of Local Government and the Kentucky Heritage Commission and Main Street Renaissance program as well, whose positions and or opinions were brought back to the Sagersville City Council first last night and then the Library Board earlier today. Referring to Kitty Duguid once again with the Kentucky Heritage Council and the Kentucky Renaissance Main Street Program, in that letter that was presented to the City Council of Sagersville last night and the Library Board today by Douglas Mortimer, the letter states that the Kentucky Main Street Program recommends the preservation of the First Baptist Church building as an important asset to the community of downtown Sagersville. And in a letter penned on August the 4th that I've already reported on, Craig Potts, the Executive Director and State Historic Preservation Officer with the Kentucky Heritage Council, said that they wish to advise the Magoffin County Library Board and the City of Sagersville of their potential obligations under Kentucky and or federal code, saying that if there were to be any federal involvement, that they need to be aware that demolition in anticipation of any federal funding or permitting might jeopardize any future assistance by federal agencies. Thus, they too recommended preserving the First Baptist Church building as an important historic asset within the community of Sagersville. First, however, we'll back up and go to remarks from Mortimer before the Sagersville City Council last evening, before advancing to coverage from today's Library Board meeting.
Well, I've got you a little bit of information on the First Baptist Church. It's kind of information that's been an undercurrent for the last 90 days. I know Mayor, you spoke on it, the judge spoke on it. And there's still a tremendous amount of people don't realize that the church is getting ready to be demolished. So this morning I thought, well, I'll go to Frankfort and find out some of the feelings down there of what's going on. So I went down to the Kentucky Heritage Council. That's Kitty Duguid. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I just the name, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So I've got a letter here from them regarding that. I will read that real quick to you. It is our understanding the church building was purchased with the intent of repurposing it as a library and community gathering place for meetings, programming, and other community uses in addition to the library itself several years ago. This is exactly the type of work that our programs advocate for and that should occur for these historic properties. It was brought to our attention that demolition of this historic asset is now being considered in order to build a new library. We have also learned that another downtown site is available for the construction of the library. As a program that looks to revitalize downtown communities, we would support the new location as it would be an asset to downtown, fill an otherwise empty lot, and generate additional revenue for the downtown community while leaving the church in place to be used as a site for future cultural activities which would bring additional commerce and individuals to the area. The First Baptist Church is eligible for a National Register nomination which would allow for use of state and possibly federal credits for this restoration. This is an area that my colleague Marty Perry would be happy to discuss with you and provide assistance. He can be reached at so-and-so time. He said, it is important to note that being part of this Kentucky Main Street program also affords Sagersville the opportunity for design assistance from the Kentucky Heritage Council when restoring or doing infill projects. The Kentucky Main Street program recommends the preservation of the First Baptist Church as an important asset to the community of downtown Sagersville. Now, that was written today here, and after we went and spoke to her about the potential of it being torn down. We also went by the Department for Local Government, which I know you're familiar with very well. They had originally concurred with the library board that the building needed to be tore down because of the condition wouldn't satisfy some of the architectural needs of the architects that were designing the place. But when we showed them the packet that I will leave with you all, they retracted kind of what they were thinking in the first place and thought that the concept of using this over here for the new library, which is across the street from the City Hall, and keeping the First Baptist Church building as a potential historic monument, cultural center, senior citizens activity place was a perfect solution. So they called the library board today and they explained to them, I don't know exactly what words, but they told me they were going to, that the coal severance money that had been given to them would not be jeopardized if they pursued trying to build a new building over here across the street. Now, all that being said, we still have a board that is intractable and will not give. They still want to tear the thing down and do it the way they had, well, the new way. They first, you know, they were going to just remodel the place, but now they want to tear it down and put a whole new building on it. So I got 400 petition names here that we'll issue to the board tomorrow to see if they'll reconsider in any way not to tear the place down. But the Office of Local Government said that you, as an important part of this community, you need to put your political will behind this and see if you can talk those folks out of doing what they're doing. And they also said the same for the judge in the fiscal court. So I guess what I'm here for, as much as anything, is to plead you all to raise up and speak out. And you don't have any legal power at all, but you do have enough representing these folks that maybe you'll affect some of them not to do what they're planning on doing.
All right, as you're well aware of, our project suspension, the 90-day period ends today. We held it over for someone to come up with solutions to our problems. Just give you an idea of where the majority of the board stands. I think we could just take a poll of the board members. This is an unofficial poll to let you know where we stand. We're just going to ask two questions. One, how many of you are in favor of trading off this property for some other property and leaving it as it is? Anybody in favor of doing that? How many are in favor of moving on with our project and putting our...
Excuse me, I would be in favor of trading the property off and leaving it as it is, leaving the building.
How many would not be in favor of trading this property off? Okay, and I think Reva would vote the same way. So, you know, that takes it off the table, I think, folks.
Well, okay, first of all,
Let me, if I may just hand in the packet that I handed to Frankfurt yesterday, they can be digesting some of that with the 400 member petition that was signed. I'll just give that to you. Then if you all can digest that, and that may save some time while if you all want to look at that.
one of course, the most troubling aspect to me is the loss of that historic structure that's 86 years old and has been part of the fabric of this community. I think it's the most iconic building it's that we have left in the city of Sayersville. We talked about location, and I don't think that a lot of people are aware of how small that where the church is now, and the footprint after you put this new building on there, how limited parking and availability will be. It just occurred to me last night. I was thinking, well, what if you want to bring a school bus load of kids from the school to see a Chautauqua performance or something, anything at a library function? And there's nowhere. This lot out here is about 3 times bigger that's been mentioned, and there would be room for parking and buses and things. Let me back up just a little bit. I've been part of this. I was on this library board before, and then I sat out for I don't know how long, 3 years or something when my term was up, and then I was just recently reappointed. But I've always wanted a new state-of-the-art public McGoffin County Library. I think that we need it, and we need it desperately. But I don't think that it needs to come at the expense of a building that means so much to the community. Like was stated there earlier, I have a petition here with 400 signatures, and it's growing every day. And another concern of mine is how the destruction of a historic structure like that's eligible to be on the National Register of Historic Places, how that might jeopardize federal assistance. I think everyone realizes that cold severance money is virtually gone, and the state is burdened with their retirement system and their problems. And to float a bond issue of this magnitude and what we're talking about doing will place an unnecessary burden on this public that's already, quite frankly, overburdened with the new high school and the new everything, and the resources are just limited. We need to look at creative ways in financing and working, and I think this thing needed to have been brought out to the community to try to solve this problem as a community much earlier than what it was. And it just seems like that it's just kind of been sailing along. But there's so many people that are unaware of what's really happening with it. I can't see why that we can't, as a community, solve this.
I have one question. You were on the board when they purchased the library, and you didn't have a problem, or purchased the church building to use as a library, and you didn't have a problem with it being a two-story building then.
You know, I've had a problem with the way this whole thing came about. The cold severance money and the mixing of church and state has always been. But I thought, well, perhaps we can save this building and have us a new library. The original intent was for the purchase of a church for renovation into a library, and that's what I thought we were going to do. I had no idea that we were going to destroy the church. We'd have been better off to have bought a lot.
Probably would have been a good idea if you'd started getting it on the historical register several years ago, and then we wouldn't even have this discussion.
I can only do so much. But it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether it's on the historic register or eligible for being on the historic register from a federal funding standpoint.
Well, I've worked here since '08, and I can't speak for all libraries, but we've never received any federal funding, none whatsoever. I called Craig Potts. He said that he constructed this letter after he was contacted that morning. He said this does not say that we won't get. It says it might.
Yeah, it might. Yeah.
So we need to keep that clear.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you're correct.
Well, it might be a mistake to destroy the library, so I urge us to step back from that decision before we do anything rash. There's whether or not it can be repurposed or whatever, the destruction of the building itself. To take away all the church memories that many of the people in here have gone through. The destruction of the building is unconscionable, folks. There's no excuse for that. There's nothing you're going to be able to put there that's going to replace that. We don't want our downtown looking like that. It's historic. It gives us identity, and to tear it down for some soulless structure makes no sense. Folks, reconsider. There's another way out. Find it.
My wife and I went to Frankfurt yesterday and met with the Department of Local Government to see what their opinion was regarding the cold severance and the fact that they had allowed you folks to go ahead. Not allowed you, but supported the fact that you were going to tear the church down because you didn't have any other options. So I took with them some of the the hardware and some of the mapping and showed them the relative sizes of the two projects, showed them everything that's in that packet that I gave you. And the main message that they let me leave with was to let you know, and as they probably told you all yesterday, if you decide to change and go with that lot over there, that won't affect any of your funding in any way as relative to Cold Severance. You're not locked into anything that before it was pictured that you were locked in. You're not. You're free to go over there, and you have the support. And their opinion is that is the best solution to the problem. That's what local government's opinion was.
Well, I talked to Amy Barnes from DLG yesterday. She called me. I didn't call her. She said that someone had been down there to visit. She had me on a conference call with another gentleman there in the office, and she said that she wanted to make clear to the library board that they are neutral in this, that they are not an agency to say that you can move here, move there. It is entirely up to the library board, but they are neutral and they will help us with their cold severance. They are not there to take it away.
Well,
so, she said we can't tell you to go move across the street to tear it down to stay where you're at. We are neutral in this.
I hope that's what I said earlier. What she did say was they would help you if that's what you want to do, and their opinion was that was the best solution to the problem at hand.
She said they did not have a solution. That is not their job. They are not an agency to make any decisions like that.
I was at the meeting with 3 of them, and they said that was their opinion. Now, I also went to the Heritage Council, and before I got home, Mr. Goodgood sent me a letter. I'm going to get this in that packet there, explaining their opinion on the demolition of the church and what a catastrophe it will be to the community if it's done. And she also adopted the idea of switching properties. So you got folks down in Frankfurt that are willing to put in and help you in every way. You got the community folks here. This gentleman here just said he'll put in $1,000 to my $1,000. There's folks that will help, and we'll jump in behind this if you just don't tear the church down. It seems like you got all kinds of folks wanting to help. We're not trying to be here to be contrary with you, but in regards to tearing the church down, we are a bit contrary, and so are the 400 people that signed that petition that I gave you. That's in the last 4 days. We have over 400 people signed the petition.
And Doug, you know what I think about a petition? I could get a petition up to declare today Wednesday, and I could get 400 signatures on that.
Would you buy them? Is that how it's done around here?
That's you know, and it's easy to do that. That's not a problem. Now, you know, I think we have a solution for the problem.
If you would, I'd urge you to at least look at some of the names on the petition. I don't think those are the kind of people that are just throwing their signatures around carelessly.
And after dismissal of those hundreds of names on that petition, there was a solution, if you will, presented on behalf of the library board, one that seemed unattainable to all those in attendance, and also a vote that took place thereafter. First, though, we need to pay a few bills, as they say, and thank a few sponsors. We'll wrap up the meeting coverage in just a moment. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband.
Behind this, if you just don't tear the church down. It seems like you got all kinds of folks wanting to help. We're not trying to be here to be contrary with you, but in regards to tearing the church down, we are a bit contrary, and so are the 400 people that signed that petition that I gave you. That's in the last 4 days. We have over 400 people signed the petition.
And Doug, you know what I think about a petition? I could get a petition up to declare today Wednesday, and I could get 400 signatures on that.
Would you buy them? Is that how it's done around here?
That's you know, and it's easy to do that. That's not a problem. Now, you know, I think we have a solution for the problem.
If you would, I'd urge you to at least look at some of the names on the petition. I don't think those are the kind of people that are just throwing their signatures around carelessly.
I understand that. We have a solution. We're willing to sell the property.
Ultimately, hearing all of that, Board Chairman Ronnie Gullett said the board would accept $460,000, a commitment at least thereof today, and 10% down for purchase of the building, before a vote was taken to tear it down. While board member Reva Whitaker was said to be on vacation and not in attendance, Gullett did say that he believed that she would be of like mind with the board's majority. Members left to right, David May, Tracy Watson, Ronnie Gullett, and Kim Rudd, and librarian Melanie Kane were in attendance.
We will draw up some kind of agreement here that says we, the undersigned, agree to purchase the old First Baptist Church property from the McGoffin County Public Library for the sum of $460,597. We agree to pay 10% down at the next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be in September, with the balance of the 465 or 400, whatever it would be, the balance due at the October board meeting. Now, that's what we're willing to do. If anybody's willing to sign their John Henry to a statement, and I can make that in the form of a motion.
You're asking us to buy the building today. Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking you to make the commitment to buy the building.
What about that? Well,
yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you would try to make a red herring out of something so important.
If you have if you've been trying for the last 60 days to raise money or to find funds to purchase it, instead of just trying to keep us from tearing it down, you probably could have had the biggest part of the money located by now.
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
I'm neutral in this. I really am. If you were forgiven the $450,000 was cold severance money, it wasn't taxpayers' money, right? The $650,000 you got for the renovation of the church was cold severance.
Well, it's not tax money. You can call it whatever.
Well, it's not tax. It wasn't our taxpayers' money that bought the church. So if the legislature said we'll forgive that $450,000, let you keep the other $200,000 to purchase property with, would that be sufficient for you to deed the church to somebody else? I mean, it wasn't our taxpayers' money officially that bought the property, and you're in that $450,000 but you pay for the coastal severance money. So you're ready, the library board's not in debt from that. They've got an extra $200,000 to purchase or do whatever they want to, tear it down or whatever. I understand that. But if it was that $450,000 was forgiven and you had $200,000 to purchase more property, would that be sufficient to the board?
I don't think it would. I think right now, since we seem to be at an impasse, and I don't hear anything as far as whether or not that we have any buyers for the property, and I would move that we go ahead with the authorize our construction manager and the architects to proceed with the process for advertising for bids to remove the structure and also proceed with the foundation, the bids for the foundation work for the new building that we have plans for. I made that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes with opposition.
For those of you curious as to the condition of the structure on the inside, while no figures have been made available that we are aware of as to what it might take to restore the church, these pictures do show a structure, albeit with most of the woodwork removed and lying on the floor, as it has been for months, to appear to be as sound as it was when the First Baptist Church moved from this location to their new one. And by comparison to, say, the old Sagersville National Bank building, now the Sagersville Renaissance building, it is in far better condition than that building and some others in the downtown Sagersville area that we have done reports on over the years that are all in use today. And with all of that said, I suppose that there are just simply no other words left to say. Thank you for being a part of the program. We sincerely hope you're back here tomorrow night. More news, as always, that you'll only see here on Your News Today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.